History of Sabre Yachts series continues with a familiar face to many of our viewers, Mr. Bentley Collins, our Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Good morning.
Good morning, Jamie.
We'll jump right in with our first question. Some of our viewers may not know, but you have quite a varied history in the boating industry, even before your time at Sabre. Will you tell us a little about that and how you came to Sabre Yachts?
Sure. It's actually a fascinating story because Sabre Yachts and I were actually joined together at one time back in 1967. I was a kid working at the yacht club in Montreal, the Royal St. Lawrence Yacht Club, and Roger Houston at that time was building his Sabre scow for a series of regattas that were going to take place that summer at our yacht club. And the boats were going to be used for the Sears and Mallory Cups and some international sailing competitions. And guess who was doing the rigging? And of course I wasn't much of a rigger back then, but as time went by, I went off and worked in other parts of the boating industry. I worked as an independent sailboat dealer in Montreal. Then I worked for Bentley USA for a period of time and helped them develop their market here in the United States. And then finally had an opportunity to come to Maine and circled right back to Sabre Yachts again. When I first came along to Sabre, I was a big fan of Jim Taylor's designs, and Jim worked with us and did some fabulous designs from the 36 all the way through to the 45, all very successful boats. They all won Boat of the Year in their year of launch. And through, at the end of the day, I love sailing. I love getting on a boat without the motor running and having the quiet and the wind in my hair, and I love that. But the reality of the marketplace is that the powerboat business is where we found ourselves, where we needed to be. We went to another show here in Florida. Today, you and I are here in Fort Lauderdale, but we went to another boat show in Florida down at Miami with a new model called the Saberline 42 hardtop. And we launched that boat at Miami. We were constantly doing sea trials throughout the entire show. And when we got back to Maine, we had 14 orders in our pocket for the 42 Hardtop Express. There's landmark models in our sailboat business. The 362 was the turning corner where we went to work with Jim Taylor, and that spawned a whole group of boats that were very successful and great for the company. And most of our owners still have those boats and love them. And then in the powerboat business, even though the Saberline 36 fast trawler was the first boat out of the barn, the Sabre 42 Hardtop Express was really the one that launched us into this place where we are today. I think the realization that our customers were more interested in having a fully enclosed helm deck. So our Salon Express models, and that's a name that frankly I created. The Salon Express models allow an owner to close the back door, close the windows, and turn on the air conditioning on the hottest day or turn on the heat on the coldest day and go out boating and enjoy themselves. The other part of our evolution as a powerboat builder is we went after noise and vibration big time. We said we want to have the quietest motor yachts in the business. We chased noise levels from in the high 80 decibels, and as you know, last night we went out on the new Sabre 45 with a new drivetrain in it, and we had sound levels in the mid-60s, which is ridiculous because you and I are working in an environment right now that's at about that same noise level.
It would hardly be fair in this conversation not to mention the founding of Cove Yachts, Sabre's sister company, which you played a key role in as well. Do you care to share a little about that?
Yeah, in 2003 we had a group of dealers that were becoming increasingly successful with our Sabre, at that time Saberline powerboats, and they said, we just need more boats. I've got all these brokers and they don't get a chance to sell even one because you're not building enough. So give us something that's small, repeatable, and they wanted a Sabre. And I convinced our group that it shouldn't be a Sabre, that it should be another name. It was a different level of build, even though the parts and components and everything else were the same. It didn't have exterior wood on it. It was single engine. It had a fiberglass liner in the inside. And so we called 6 dealers and asked them to fly to Manchester, New Hampshire, and we met them at the hotel in Manchester, Southwest Airlines hub for New England. And so we spent the day with them, and we showed them the drawings of the Cove 29, and they said, this is fabulous, this is exactly what we want. we'll take everything that you're going to build in the first year, just don't set up any other dealers for 12 months. And over time now, the two companies are about the same size. Backhoes don't have as high a price, so the dollars are about the same, but the units at Backhoe are higher. So here we are now building about 70 Backhoes a year. And it's a brand that over, how long has it been, 16 years, has gone from zero to being one of the most prominent brands in the Down East segment. It's been a lot of fun with Backhoe. People, all the time think I'm the guy, but I'm not the guy. The guy is the guy who's in Raymond, who has a lovely family life in Maine and 4 fabulous children. And Danielle's skills are in finance management. Nancy will agree that she has to do cash flow projections a little too often some weeks, but she loves working with him too because he's a great overseer financially. And Danielle's other skill is hiring the right people. Danielle's is a great observer of human nature and character, and he has done just a fabulous job of putting together a team. I'm now 70 years old and I'm semi-retired. I'm working half-time, and I can tell you that the team that he has now put in place behind me with Aaron Crawford, Kevin Burns, Jason Constantine, yourself, Lynn, Jamie, everybody, all of a sudden we have all these 40-somethings, and maybe they're pushing 50, but we've got a crew now that'll take us to the 75th anniversary with no problem whatsoever.
Do you have anything else to share, or I know a lot of our viewers are curious about sort of what's next?
Well, what's next is more of the same. Of course, now Backhoe has outboard boats, and we have another outboard boat coming this year. The 390 is coming this year. But I think the future is really bright for the company because the boating industry is going to be around for a long time to come. It started with the Ark, and we still are here, and we're still doing our thing. And our customers love being on the water. I think one of the greatest things about being on the water is being on the water and looking at the land and saying, you see all those people there? They all wish they were here. And it's a wonderful place for family and friends, and just to get away from the day-to-day nuisances of noise and offices and stress and one thing and another. And the pleasure our customers get out of boating will always be there. So I think that whatever it takes, we will adapt ourselves to build those boats. Today we build boats up to 66 feet in length, and our smallest Sabre is 38 feet, and at Backhoe our smallest boat is 30, and we go up as big as 41. So we cover a nice broad range, and whatever adaptations we need to make to keep moving forward, we will. And we've got a very alert group of people on our product development team, and we see here at the show, I'll spend most of the day today or tomorrow walking around the show and seeing new trends. And of course our designers come here, and our president Aaron Crawford's here at the show, so there's a bright future for Sabre Yachts for sure.